Hello everyone. You are listening to this audiobook on channel Voice of Purpose by NSS IIT Bombay.
Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929. He grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, a city plagued by racial segregation. He was an American Baptist and the first president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He received a PhD in systematic theology from Boston University in 1955. Although slavery had ended in the late 19th century, African American people were still facing many difficulties and were treated as untouchables. Many civic activists were trying to end discrimination in the African American community, but no big changes had brought other than Supreme Court decided to treat that separate colleges for blacks and whites is unconstitutional, but still many changes needed for the lives of blacks. It was then after King started fighting for civil rights. The first campaign was Montgomery's bus boycott. It was started when Rosa Parks, an African American woman who refused to leave her seats for whites. She was then arrested for civil disobedience, and that incident triggered black people to start fighting for their rights under the leadership of King. King believes in non-violent movements are fruitful than violent movements. He was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's ideas and followed the same principles of fighting for civil rights. He said, "Since being in India, I am more convinced than ever before that the method of non-violent resistance is the most potent weapon available to oppress people in the struggle for justice and human dignity." Blacks had to suffer for water, housing, education, public transportation, employment, and they were prohibited from voting. With his campaign to boycott public transportation in Montgomery, the district court ordered for equality for blacks in availing public transportation and released Rosa Parks. From here after, they campaigned similar boycotts in some other countries reducing public transportation and refraining to contribute to the economic growth of the country. King then formed SCLC in 1957 to campaign against discrimination and held many marches in many places. Along with followers, many enemies have evolved and the government itself turned against him. Nothing had achieved so easily. He was arrested 30 times while organizing campaigns. Many white supremacy groups attacked his activists and also bombed their houses and resulted in the loss of lives. He had no support from media as well. He was never demotivated and cowed from government's blackmailing and stood strong to fight against discrimination and for the welfare of laborers. In 1963, held a march in Washington DC and delivered the famous speech starting, "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Now is the time to lift our nations from the quicksand of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all God's children." It had a great impact on people and also brought the government to step down and resulted in the passage of significant civil rights legislation. The Civil Rights Acts of 1964 and the National Voting Rights Act of 1965 legally ended segregation throughout the country. King received many awards. King was awarded the 1964 Nobel Peace Prize and the named Times Magazine Man of the Year in both 1963 and 1964. King posthumously received the President Medal of Freedom in 1977 and Congressman Gold Medal in 2004. A national holiday had been declared by the country as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. He also received myriad of other prestigious national and international awards. Hundreds of streets have been renamed in his honor. While he was planning of four rebels campaigns, he was assassinated on April 4, 1968, resulting in riots in the country. While his speeches, ideas, dreams, he mobilized many people and brought discrimination-free life for black in America. It stood as a great leader in history.
So hope you guys had fun. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting audiobooks.